Hello, guys, and welcome back for episode 11 of Man's Glory, where we keep it real biblical. So, today's topic is dealing with grief. And boy, do we have some grief.
Yes, we do. And for some reason, feel like we done went over this before, but I guess because down through the line, all the topics
Kind of.
line up together.
Because your girl's very good at what she does, that's all I'm saying.
And grief, the only way that I know how to deal with grief is by the word of truth. Because if I wasn't in the word, getting spiritual teacher, Lord, where will I be? What would I do? I probably would lose my mind because we have gone through some grievous times. You know, from loved one to loved one to loved one. And I'm not going to say one of them past gas, Jesus Christ. And I'm not going to say one of them dogs from past gas. It's about to kill me, y'all. I apologize. Jesus, who did it?
I thought you said during grievous times you have to pass gas.
No, Jesus. Ooh, forgive me, y'all. I apologize. You don't smell it?
No, and I'm glad I
They
don't.
over here about me. Passing gas. Jeez.
There's only one of them over there. The other one over there.
Oh, well, it got to be Reese's deal, the guilty party. But anywho, don't talk fast, I guess. Just get your stanky ass on here.
Like I said, in 2021 is when I lost my first grandparent. I lost my grandmother, my dad's mom. And then in 2023, I lost my brother cousin. And then in 2024, I lost my second grandparent, my papa, my mom's stepfather. Which in our family, we don't say step parents or step cousins or in-laws and like this. Just use what you use. I got a granddaddy, I had a papa, and I have a Papa Jimmy. I have a Gram Z, a grandma, Victoria, and then my grandma Annie that passed. So, yeah, we just don't do step. And being the child that always was different from most friend groups, having all of her grandparents, the only thing I didn't have was the great grands. Well, actually, I had that was your granddaddy. So it was my great-great-grandfather. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I had my great-great-grandfather up until junior high. Or up until high school. He died right before I went to high school. So yeah, I've been blessed to have that. And so that's kind of, I would say I dealt with my grandmother's death way better than I did with my brother. And yeah, looking at how I grieved that. Now when she died, I was mad. I didn't want to be around them or nothing. And I started associating death with like toothache or tooth loss or some other sort. Because I had the worst mouth pain when my grandmother died. And when my brother died, babe, I had to lose a tooth. And then my grandfather died, I'm going through the same thing. And in that process, I've grieved the loss of my grandmother. I have not grieved the loss of my brother or my grandfather. And I don't know if it's because, like, I think I'm actively avoiding it. And it's not so much that I don't believe it happened. Now, when he died, when my brother died, yeah, I was just like, that's not him. He didn't die. It was like denial at that point until I actually saw him. And I was mad at my mom for a long time because she made me look at him laying on that gurney. And I just couldn't get the image out of my head. And so when my grandmother died, I refused to come home. My brother was just like, I'm coming to get you. I'm like, no, you're not. Like, I wouldn't talk to any of them. I didn't see them until the day of the funeral. Was it the day or the day before?
Don't know. I don't remember.
I didn't want to be around none of them. And so when my brother died, I was here. But I would not come to my house. They would call. My grandmother, she had a key. Well, all of them had a key. But my parents lived in another city. So my grandma just come barging through the door. Like, I didn't want to see them. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was mad. I was livid. I was ready to fight the whole world. Because for the life of me, I couldn't understand, what. Well, it's not that I couldn't understand. I was just mad. And then originally, too, I thought somebody did something to him. So I was like, I was on a hunt. It was like a whole thing. Excuse me. So I had these nightmares for weeks on end. I was not sleeping. I was not eating. I think I told y'all I lost 18. I lost a lot of weight. And it got to the point, too, where I could not go to the gym without hyperventilating. It was like a PTSD response type thing. So eventually I got past that and I was able to go to the gym. But I could not listen. I was just able to listen to a video of him singing when Wanda just posted on Facebook. I had just noticed it that day.
Ago.
And it's been a year and some months since he's died. And I'm just now able to listen to the video. Couldn't hear none of the videos of him singing, him talking, anything of the sort. Now I can listen to my grandfather's, my papa's voice on video, but I can't watch him. Like I can hear it, I can listen to it in my head, but I can't watch it. I have all type of videos on my phone, my iPad. I just cannot physically see him, but I can listen to it all day. I can look at his picture. I cannot watch his mouth. The sound come from a whole motion video. I just can't do that. And I know the stages of grief, but I have not been grieving either of them. And I don't think I can grieve my grandfather, so I grieve my brother, but I have been actively avoiding doing that because it just makes no sense to me. I never would have thought in all these years, right, that I would be here doing the things I'm doing and he's not here. To the fact that we were talking about my wedding days before he died. That's what's driving me insane, right? The conversations we were having days before he died. So I can say in all the hurt that I have, I never once questioned God. I never once asked why him. I never once asked if God, or said the statement, because that's something that drives me crazy. People say, if God's so good, why would he allow you to die? What do you mean? If you're born,
why would he allow you to be born?
I mean, one thing guaranteed throughout your entire life. If you were born, you're going to die.
Right.
That's just active common sense. And why would I be mad at God because he fulfilled the promise? Because I'm not mad if I feel like he promised me $1 million and I got $1 million. It hurts that I don't have that person as a void. Because still now, it's sometimes I just be like, let me go call Benique. I didn't notice too how much I would run to call him. My papa, I would. It's just the memories. And I told Mama, this might have been a few weeks or a few months after he passed. I said, I don't think it's better. You don't even think back in the day, like before they had cameras and recorders and all these things, like when they lose their loved one, like eventually after so many years, their memory probably fade because you don't have proof of it. You know, physical proof, like you can go back and look and listen to it. I don't think it's better because I couldn't listen to the video. I hate it when people post stuff on Facebook. I stayed off Facebook for so long.
But that's for you.
For me, right. I don't think it's better.
Everybody's different. Because, like my mom them. And most of the time back in the olden days when you try to find pictures,
Olden?
Yes, olden.
No, old. Olden is like in the westerns.
That's what I'm talking about. That's how old they are.
Oh, wait a minute.
Back in the old, yeah, they're old. I'm 54.
When was the westerns made?
Back in 50-something. 40, they just came out of the westerns. Baby, they ain't old as you think. But anyway, as I was saying, like the pictures they don't have, because that's what I mean. Their homes codified. And we have all these new gadgets and pictures and voices. And
I still love the paper pictures.
Yeah. And for her, it's not good. But, you know, you have other people, those memories are great for them. And it hurts. And I can say that I don't believe that I have actually grieved because I spend my time being a rock for my family. And it happened now with my mother-in-law and my other father, my bonus father. I'm not going because I've never called him stepfather. So my mom's husband, I refer to that so people won't get it messed up. But because they were older,
it seemed to be easier.
Yeah, it was easier for me because both of them was older and you know, had something, whether it was, I think it was, they both had heart failure, but in my mind, and I was telling my mama this, it never came to me, I never computed that they had congested heart failure until the day they died. And maybe that's just the way I dealt with it.
And they both had heart surgery, didn't it?
And B did not. But because you have congestion heart failure does not mean you sick and does not mean you gonna die. So therefore, my mind didn't compute that until they died. I'm like, when people they were both diagnosed with, congestion heart failure. That was what was wrong. But with my nephew, Jesus, young, energetic, the Lord blessed him to pay off that house. Had just paid cash for a card and put on Facebook. I'm not ashamed of my blessing. I'm going to share it. And I said that to say it was more of a what? Now, and I know we are here. We born, you must die. But still, when reality hits, it seems like I told my cousin about her mom. I said it just seems so unreal. Because that's how we know we don't come here to stay. But when it's your loved one like that, you're like, what? And even with the grieving, it's okay to grieve. You
consumed.
Mourn. You can mourn. But you gotta get it out. But when you let grief consume you, then we're not trusting in God. Because we are, your loved one, I believe you will love them to the rest of your life. Till you leave here, you're going to always love them and miss them. Because my grandma passed before I even had kids. And my grandma still crosses my mind. My kids never met her. And I can go a step further. My great-grandmother, we called her Grandma Mom. And she passed when I was like 7, I think. And I still remember her and still remember all the people at the funeral, And so I said that to say when you love forever. And not only just us, we have, I'm going to say our spiritual families. When my spiritual sister called me, and when she called me, I knew something was wrong. Well, her brother had passed. And I heard it, And even before that one, when the other one, my spiritual sister, I call her a spiritual mom. She'll remember her when her grandbaby died right after she gave birth. Just things we know of. And then my even before that, my one of my best friend, childhood friends. It was Christmas Eve, and that just trying to eat. And when my husband called,
my senior high school.
Yeah, my husband called her husband about something we had got jazz,
and it just college.
Okay, and that just, I'm like, what? And I called my mom like, what, you spoiled my... So, when you care about people, it hurts. And you see certain people go through changes, and you think, are they grieving? But if we do not know God, like people tell you, just pray. Just take it to the Lord. But if you don't know him, how can you pray? How can you take it to him? And so that's something we need to stop saying. The first commandment is to hear. So you got to first hear about God to know him. And just all I can say, I thank God that I know Jesus, that I know of a man called Jesus who can help me and many of you all with all your sorrows and heart attack. He's the only one. I don't care how strong my connection is with the Lord. I can't help you. I can pray for you. I can mourn with you. But I can't help you. Only Jesus. And that's why he wants us to come to him. All that are heavy. Burden down. His burden.
You just said he stopped telling people to pray.
Do what?
You just said stop telling people to pray.
I didn't tell anybody to pray.
You said, no, but you're going to say come to him.
Yeah.
How you going to come to him?
Because you got to go to a church that's teaching about God. I did not say come here and pray. I was quoting what the scripture said. Heavy. His burden is easy, says the Lord. My yoke is easy. His burden is light. That's what I was going to say. I'm going to tell them to pray, and I just told them God don't hear sinner man's prayer. I didn't say that, but that's what it said. You tell people to pray. If they don't know about Jesus, how can they pray to him? You cannot pray to somebody that you ain't never heard about, somebody you don't know.
So this is the confusion from. It was not confusion for me, but church. I'm gonna say church folk because this is the area we talking about. When you go back and forth from, you gotta pray to God, pray to God, pray to God, and you go, oh, you gotta go. And we talked about being apt to pray. You are saying we gotta go to church because the words say, "Hear, O Israel." That's the first thing you have. You got to hear, right? But then also thinking real natural. If your mama dropped dead on Tuesday, and people say, okay, you gotta take the God, but you say they gotta go to church. Church ain't till Sunday. So in between that time, they just sitting there void, waiting till Sunday so they can go to church and hear and then pray. Because that's how it's coming off.
What I said is coming out?
When you saying, not you, but people say, okay, well, you got to pray to God. Like we said, you got to be apt to pray. But you got to have a relationship with God in order to pray. But how do you get a relationship with God?
Through the preacher. You say, how can you hear?
Through the preacher. So you got to wait till Sunday.
No.
So that's what I'm saying. Yes, you have to hear. But that first step, you got to pray. Because everybody don't, oh, let me go to church and then start praying. Common sense that you drop down on your knees right then and there because you can't just go to a church. You have to, hold on. You have to pray to go to the right church. Because you just walk up in the church, it's still not helping you.
A sincere prayer. That's what the word said. God is not here as sinner. But if any man be a worshiper of his, him he hears.
If I'm in the, let's take me.
So how we going to worship him? Go ahead.
I'm in the streets, I don't care nothing about God.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's just, I done lost everything. And the one thing I had left was my mother. And she died. I have nothing. I have no connections, no familiar things, no church home, no nothing. I ain't got nothing else to do but go down on my knees and pray. But I'm being told, well, you can't pray because God not listening to you. But in that moment, I'm sincere with God. Listen, God, I have nothing else. And I hate that it had to get to this point for me to come to you. The first thing going to always be prayer. That's going to be that first thing. Whether or not he hear you, your first thing is going to be prayer. You pray. You say, listen, I need you to take this out of me. I need you to give me some of this 10-30. You're going to find you a church. That don't mean you just go to that first church you go to either. Because you're going to have to pick a church that is actually telling you the right things. But if you are sincere about it and talking to God about it, and he going to put you in the place you're supposed to be in. Right or wrong?
That's correct.
But that first thing gonna be prayer. At the end of the day, your first thing is gonna have to be prayer. Because you can't go talk to any and everybody either.
No, well the Bible tells us to pray without ceasing. Okay, since you are taught as a child, we are taught to pray. So if you're down on your knees praying, like you say, you praying to God, you done heard different people, different things. You see people, you see how they live. So just like it's a spirit of error, it's a spirit of truth. Something gonna lead you and guide you to somewhere. And like you just said, the first church house that you go to don't mean is that. When you are seeking and searching for Jesus, you go. You just, like we tell people, come and see. I know it's right because I'm reading along. I know what the true word says. But everybody don't want to accept Jesus as he is. And as far as praying, a sincere prayer. Okay, so just like God reigns on the just as well as the unjust. What it means is the righteous is praying. God hears him and he will answer him. The sinner man is praying, have no desire to change. So where your prayers fall into? Deaf ear.
So the pastor said today that those of you who are Bible scholars, you know what it say. You ain't gotta, or I don't think he said you ain't gotta open your book. He said those of you who are Bible scholars, he said if you ain't got your book, he said you know what it say. And to me, a light bulb switch. I'm just like, that's a problem too, because you got a lot of Bible scholars that can quote a verse word for word, and you quoting the wrong verse. You can quote a verse because you know it because you heard somebody else say it, and that's tradition. That's religion. You've never read it for yourself, so and you don't even know where it's at. Or they can tell you, okay, well, John 2:3 says, and you repeat it word for word, but you've never once opened your Bible and read it for yourself. And so then when you go and open your Bible and read it, you just like, that ain't what that verse say. Because it's not. Because for tradition, for years and years and years, you've heard this verse say X, Y, and Z. Right? The 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. If you actually read that whole chapter, it also talked about 7. Not 5 and not just 5,000. It talked about multiple different things that went on that verse. Right. And that verse is not actually the way it is in that song or the way that people recite it back to you. If you actually go and read it for yourself, right? So, with him saying that, I was just like, well, that's not accurate because in our church, you're going to read it for yourself. Have your book, but it's also on that screen too.
Did you flip to it though and read it?
I did.
That's what I'm saying. Did you flip to it and read it?
Yeah, because I know what I'm trained.
Yeah. And
because I don't go by word for what somebody else
say too, baby. The scriptures, I'll mix them up in a minute. Misquote them or whatever. Just like when I said like a bubble on the, I said throw in a bubble on the water. Blue. But my husband
you always say bubble on the wall. You always say it.
But hey, that's just me the way I talk. So I said that to say, read them for yourself.
Well, I said that to say.
You gonna go with it? Oh, and I would far more rather be a doer
than a biblical scholar.
Yeah, and just reciting them and not doing them. So hey, go ahead.
Because he went to he went to Psalms.
He started Psalm 73.
Yeah, Psalm 73, 1, 2, and 3. And then he says Psalm 73, 16 and 17.
Right.
And so my dad said he had never read that. And I said, I have. He said, I know you did. Because I had read my Bible backwards and forward. I probably at least 12, 13 times since I have been able to read. And every time, every time I get a new Bible, I do it all over again. Because I mark up my Bible. Highlight, I write, I take notes, I say all the things. And I used to always say, too, I can't wait to where I can be like my dad, to where if you say a verse, I already know what to say. And and I know, and if somebody asks me a question, I can immediately go flip to that verse without having to call my dad and ask him, hey, where is such a. But and also, we sitting in church today. In our church, we went and visited somebody else's church today after our service. And so that's the pastor I'm talking about. But in our church, what was Dad talking about? So you said, I'm finna read the verse I see. Prior to that, it was like we were doing the Lord's Prayer, right? Matthew 6, 9 through 13. I didn't realize that that's what Lord's Prayer was until I got 9th grade. And now that one I can't say I can remember. I tell you exactly what it is, right? And then, but I took when it got to the forgive us this day. He was talking about it this day. I said, and I immediately came to my head. I said before you this day a blessing and a curse. Why? Because my dad has been drilling that message in that Bible verse in me since for as long as I can remember. Deuteronomy. That's what it is. Deuteronomy. Right out my head. 23. Verses 26 through 28. I said before you this day a blessing and a curse. That's 26. 27 is a blessing if you choose to do X, Y, and Z. 28 is a curse. Wait a minute, I mixed them up.
Yeah, blessing is first.
Curse is first. Blessing is second. Read it for yourself. See, that's why you need your own Bible.
But then when he asked, she couldn't remember the book, I said Deuteronomy. And you said that too,
she beat me to it.
Well, because now I've never desired to
that's just something
and everybody's different because the church that as James and I chose, the church home we chose together, you have several people there, baby, they can beat the minister quoting them before he can get them out his mouth. But like I say, that's not my desire. My desire is to live it.
I'd much rather it be in my heart
than just out of my mouth.
Than me being able to recite it. And that word Bible scholar means nothing. Because I know people who swear that they know the Bible back and forth, can recite to you any verse and tell you where it, but you don't know the meaning of it.
Your works.
You don't know what it does. Your work does not line up to it. And somebody drop dead that's close to you. The first thing you doing is challenging God. Because just like they talk about the backside. You cannot walk away from God. How can you say you believe in God? You go through a death, you walk away from God, you will never return back to the church. You never had no belief in God. Because God told you that if nothing else, you gonna die. You have your world is gonna end. That's what we make that mistake at too, saying that the world is ending. Baby, the US of the A, the earth is not going anywhere. When it said your world, it meant your life. You're going to drop dead. This one ain't gonna never end, because you can't say that the world is gonna end when this man told you in Genesis. In Genesis, he ain't gonna flood it no more. Pick a side.
Fire next time.
It said fire next time. That means you gonna burn in hell. Because why did he flood the earth the first time? Because we were misbehaving. And he said, look, all these people walking on this earth, and he saved 8 people. 8?
Noah. 8
One
souls.
man, his 3 sons, that man's wife, and his 3 daughter-in-law. That's who lived, and 2 of each animal on that ark. Killed everybody else.
Ooh.
Killed them.
But you say what God
flooded the world. But you want to sit up there and say, well, God is so good. Why? If God is so good, he's still allowing your end to breathe and you don't care nothing about it. And that's the thing too.
Amen.
Because you believe your parents good, your parents whoop your tail when you did wrong. If you had a good parent that cared something about you. That's another thing that Pastor said would visit that you can't be your child friend. That's a lot of y'all problem right there.
Them up. The scripture tell you that.
From that, he said he was not going to destroy the world again. He said next time it's fire. Then he said your world was going to end. Not earth. You gonna drop dead. And by your world ending, fire next time, you gonna burn in hell when you drop dead. Everybody ain't going to hell. Now I know y'all think everybody in heaven, but that ain't true either. Because it said hell expanded. I ain't never once read earth gonna expand. Heaven gonna expand. I ain't never once read that earth was going to burn up. I've never once read that earth was going to explode, implode, destroy. The only time I remember reading earth in the Bible is in Genesis, when it say in the beginning.
The only earth.
And God created heaven and earth.
The only earth that's going to burn up is this, because we are earth. We came from dirt. From dirt.
And we going back to the dirt.
Let me correct that. That dirt is going back to from where it came. And these spirits, these souls and inside us going before judgment seat to get our just reward.
But to get back to the point of grieving, grief is, Pastor said to me, I'm trying to remember if it was Pastor Mays or our pastor, our bishop. I think it was Bishop. They said to me, your pain, what you feel, and it was when they died, what you feel. Can you just imagine for the people who don't believe in God what they're going through? If I've never known a pain so severe as that. Like I told my mama, I said I could only imagine what my uncle or what my aunt felt when my brother died. For these instances, I'm going to call him my cousin because I want y'all to think something weird going on. I call him my brother because my mom and my grandparents raised him. We were raised up in the same house. We practically lived together most of our life up until we were grown. We lived together in college.
Y'all still live together a portion of your time.
Yeah. So we was always like this, matching outfits, the works. Everybody thought, still to this day, people still think we're siblings and we're cousins. But that's how we refer to each other, sister and brother. Because what if I argue with you for it? But that's my mom's baby brother's son. And I told mom, I said, I can only imagine how they feel when I know how I feel. When my grandma, I know how I heard. When I heard my grandma, that tore something up in me to hear how my grandma felt. That was her child. So I'm just like, so Pastor told me it had to be our pastor because it had to be
Bishop. Mm-hmm.
And he told me, he said, with all that you feel, imagine. Because how unbearable it was, or I felt at one point that it was so unbearable. But I asked myself, you still standing? You still, and I wasn't sleeping for quite some time. And then it went to, the one that I couldn't sleep, it was I couldn't sleep without having dreams, nightmares, seeing the things. But it went to where all I could do was sleep. Couldn't eat, couldn't do nothing but sleep. Half of the time I'm dying. The other half, God is allowing me some type of peace. And then it went from being nightmares to him coming to me in my sleep. And that's all it was. To where I could actually sleep through the night, sleep through the day. Sleep, just constantly sleep. Couldn't talk to nobody. Didn't want to talk to nobody. Didn't want to be around nobody. But I could sleep. And Pastor said, and all that you're going through, because you're being comforted. My dad told me, he was like, you're being comforted. My mom told me, imagine what somebody who does not have a relationship with God. And I'm just thinking, too, how many people were dying. And I think, too, it hit us harder, too, because every time I look around, somebody dying in somebody's family. And then it's like it was never happening to me and mine. And then I had so many people just started dropping left and right. Like, I got some
It's our
old
time.
people in my family.
It's our time.
And it's just, my mom said, it must just be our time.
Yeah.
And they said somebody come in threes. Baby, it was coming in 3 sets of threes. I said, well, wait a minute. At one point, we had got like 12, 15 people. I said, well, this is the wrong sets of threes I want. But the thing was, in all that I was going through and all the agony and pain I felt, I had some sense of comfort because I knew at the end of the day, God had already planned this out. It already happened for a reason. I was being prepared for something. In all that it was, I was being prepared for something. If somebody right now don't have a relationship with God and has somebody just as close to them as Bennett was to me, I'm talking about that tether was as tight as our tether. 8 months and 2 days apart. I have never been apart. That tether was just as tight. And they often themselves. You got people killing themselves every single day because they lost somebody. When I tell you the saying, what is it? Died of heartache. Is it what it is?
Heartache.
I've heard of people you lost your wife or your spouse or somebody that close to you, and your literally heart breaks and you die from it.
Right.
And I remember laying in that bed in so much pain. I said, "This must be what it feel like to die of heartbreak." I never died. I went days without eating. I had enough sense to swallow my grandma forced the applesauce in my mouth because I did not want to die. I would never want it to be that bad. And my mama said to me, do you think Bennett will want you sitting here killing yourself? Because he not here. Baby, I ain't trying to kill. What you mean? I never thought about suicide.
You're going to go to hell.
Oh, not for
you dying because
I love you. I don't love you that much. Listen.
That means you done made that person your
God. And I would never.
And he's a jealous God. We put no one before him.
Would never. But that what mom said, like, she said, do you? And I'm like, girl, I ain't never thought about suicide, but I'm not nourishing my body either. Mm-hmm. I'm not taking care of me. At this point, you up in a hole. The only thing I'm doing is taking showers.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so with the grief, and I tell this story all the time, people may gonna get tired of it, but I don't care. The day that I found out I was pregnant with her, I came into the house, had just left the doctor's office. Mama like, the baby here, and it's a boy. And I'm like, well, I'm pregnant. I'm 6 weeks pregnant. And even
she was trying to one up her brother. No,
I was not. But anywho, even with all of that going on, and I tell people, to me, Bennett, Marvin Blackman Jr., Jazz. And so I was pregnant with her and had him everywhere I go. So, and I think about Jesus and John. When Elizabeth and her sister met Mary, and the Holy Ghost danced in his belly, because he used to, while I'm pregnant, he used to sing. We didn't know what he was saying, but he was singing and talking to Jazz. So I said he was serenading her. And I'm gonna bring LaShonda in, and Nikki Blackman. She couldn't stand me while I was pregnant. So that's
how you knew you have a girl.
When they say that, the girl, baby, she used to be trying to fight me and everything because I was pregnant with Jazz. And I said that to say, he was, they produced him, and he was my baby, the first
three
baby.
Amigos.
And that thing about my heart aches for Consuela and Marvin and my mama. And I'm my daddy.
My granddaddy.
Because we all loved him. He was the first born baby of Dad and Mama's children. The first baby. I remember when, because my dad used to bring me and Marvin, we was grown, he used to bring us a couple of $100 for Christmas. And I remember the first year when Bennett came along, he gave me my money. And I was in there, he like, what Bennett did? Because this for the baby. It was kind of funny to me, because that means you don't get no because you got a baby. But I said,
when you pregnant?
It doesn't matter. When I was pregnant now, he had a kid. Mm-hmm. So hey, and that's what usually goes on. But anywho, I just
in our family, not other people. They don't
I'm talking about us. But it just was the love. And so it hurt, and it didn't just hurt our hearts. We talking about our grief. I mean, I got cousins. My first cousin, they just like, couldn't believe in it and trying to deal with it, and
for anybody who had a relationship with
him, not just our family,
sincere relationship,
friends. I just saw. And period, I go on there and you see, people I've never met, about how he touched them. And so it was just a person that you love or that people love. I say either you love us
Or
or
you
you
hate
hate
us.
us. No in between. And don't get me wrong, some hated him because I've seen his texts getting people told. But that's just what it is. But what was that? The other day, well that thing, but before that, sometime I leave the center on my lunch break the other day and my heart just I wanted to weep. I did not because it's just my mind. He just crosses my mind, and just like I do know, this pretrial diversion that him and Jazz did together. We God willing, we finna get it off the ground. We've been working on it, but I want this.
We definitely have been working on it.
I want this.
We definitely
I
have.
want this perfect person.
Even though we have been working on it.
I want this perfect person to help to work alongside with Jazz to do it because and I knew it wasn't God will for him to finish it out, but he allowed them to start it. And I'm ready. Look at me. I'm ready. I'm not the Lord. I'm ready for it to go forward. And we did. We interviewed a beautiful spirit young lady. And I don't know what I tell Jazz, but me and my husband said, James, like, man, I just feel she'll be a great help to Jazz. And I really believe she will, And I was saying that to say with the accomplishment ceremony or banquet that was done for them. And this part of my mama like that, she didn't read off everything they had accomplished. Well, that was my fault because I didn't type it up. But it's on those pictures. I forgot to type that up. So, hey. But he had done so much, and Jazz is continuing to do, and like can't think of her name, but one of those churches he played at, and she said to me when I took her the obituary because she couldn't go to the funeral, and she said that God allowed him to do so much and so quickly because his time was running out, and it made a lot of sense.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I hope my time ain't running out.
Well, you still got much to do, good Lord will. And I said that to say too, even with I remember we was just talking about the last.
Oh, well, of course it's running out, but I hope it ain't no time soon.
Yeah, the last Thanksgiving that we shared, and they was laughing and talking about the songs. I didn't know they had talking about it recently. The song selection for her. Well, just us like we did, sit around and have fun and as a family. We are a loving, tight-knit family, and even
a little too close.
Well, that's just us. And even with us, with the people that's in our life, friends or y'all say friend enemies or whatever you call them, whether you realize it or not, we're so close. And you may not think we don't know.
We know each other's business.
We just don't act different. But we don't hold grudges, because God teaches us to forgive, and we forgive and move right along.
He fell out with a lot of people.
Right.
And who you think he coming to tell? And we don't say a word. We know so many people business and we don't say, but vice versa. I have had my disputes, my mama, everybody, but at the end of the day, if we see you in the street, hey, how you doing? You gonna get a hug because that's who we are. Now I ain't finna tell you we ain't finna talk about you like a I'm just playing.
What? But what do the Bible teaches us?
Forgive.
We just went over the Lord's Prayer. If you want to be forgiven, you have to forgive. Just like when the sister testified in church, when she was going to the other church, she said every time that person came to church, she couldn't, but she had to go to that person and say, I forgive you. Because she was letting that person be her God. I walked through the door, boom, I'm angry. So, God teaches us to forgive if we want our Father in heaven to forgive us. And that's what it's all about. Even with the grieving. Like she said, when it first happened, our first reaction is who he called. Now, who he was taking somebody somewhere. So, we
yeah, it was a whole investigation
thing going on. It was just crazy.
But anyway, and also, as I'm going through my grief, as I am continually to grieve, your only way of getting through it is having your relationship with God.
That's it.
Because I tell people to this day, I'm not the person I was before he died. And I'm not. But I could be so much worse off. My grandmother, my mom's plus mom, what you call it? Additional mom, told me that she notices a difference in me. And she said, you need to get through it and get over and get past it. She said, you still gonna hurt. She said, but you got to get past. She said, because you're gonna make yourself sick. And I just had to tell somebody last night, y'all finna have to go. Because it's been nonstop. Just going. And I realized, I've been realizing, but I just admitted to it, I am doing it. So that I don't have to avoid it. I was sitting in church today and I almost burst out in tears. Fighting for my life. Y'all don't even know it. And you'll never know it. You got to find the outlet. And your outlet, the only, I don't care how good of a person you think you are. If you don't have a relationship with God, an actual relationship, not a fake one, not one you adopted from somebody else, whatever the case is, you will not survive it. Grief will take you up out of here.
It will.
For real. And God brings peace. Yeah, he gonna punish your end. Because if you did the dude to beat to you, if you did the wrong act, best believe he said you get your just reward. And reward meaning whatever consequence comes from whatever choice you make. A good choice, you have a good consequence. I mean, you have a consequence coming behind it. A bad choice, you have a consequence coming behind it. Your just reward is just that. Whatever you do, it's coming back. Good, bad, ugly, and everything in between.
Boomerang.
Huh?
I said, it's a boomerang. Reap what you sow. If you sow bad seed, you're going to reap bad seed. If you sow the good seed, you're going to reap the good seed.
I can say what does help me. I be having to get my Bible. And I have to listen. But it's certain gospel songs I cannot listen to. Because they would take me up out of here.
Yeah.
It breaks me down. But it's some I just have to surrender to. Because I'm just like, yeah, this what I... And it, for me, it's like every single time, whether I notice it right then or not, God puts something, someone, some saying, some quote, or some song right when I need it. Every single time.
He's great like that.
Every single time. That man some serious. That man don't play. He don't play about me and he don't play with my end. That's for dang sure.
About my other father, Eddie Durkins. People call him Pete. So my sister, his oldest daughter had said to me, "Ooh, you so strong. I wish I can be that strong. I have to be." And she also said, "I want to thank you for taking care of my father, for loving my father, her dad." And I told her, he loved me first. I can remember y'all as a little girl, it was him and the guy they called Charles Pope. Used to be working at the city. They used to sing in a group with my father, the Sensational Stars. And Pete was the musician, Charles was a singer, Pope was a singer. And Pope said I had a birthday every day. Now that's what he said I said. But I used to ask them for money. Because I knew them, they was working on the sidewalks in Leland store, and I had to go to summer school. Ain't that something? But anywho,
you went to summer school?
I did.
For what? Besides the point.
Because I got
we're
suspended
gonna have a conversation
for fighting.
Oh, we're gonna have a conversation.
So I think it was social studies in the 7th or 8th grade.
The audacity.
I missed the 9-week test up in there. Anywho, but anyway, and so I used to walk. And they used to be out there fixing on the car. Oh, well.
I'm so disappointed.
But I don't even think we were fighting. I think we was playing. So
don't matter. You
got that's why, listen to me. But that's why we always tell y'all, don't horseplay around. Because I don't even think we were fighting. But still.
And I've never been suspended.
Okay, let me get back to my subject, please, ma'am. Thank you. But you did get to fight.
But I've never been suspended.
It doesn't matter.
And I was in self-defense.
Anywho. So.
You playing.
And they used to always, when I asked them, they would give me money. We used to go to the store right downtown Leland. Hopefully, this young lady of mine be the male, and that's beautified Leland will come right back to those stores. I said what I said, and I meant what I said. Anywho, as I was saying, and like I say, he loves me first. And so when I got married, both dads walked me down because my mom and my dad divorced when I was 15. And they got together and got married. So I got married at 30-something. So I said they both had,
you did not. You was married before you were 30.
Okay, because I had LJ at 30. It doesn't matter. Anyway, 15. So they both walked me down the aisle, y'all. So that's how lovable I am and how lovable my dads are and my parents. But I said all that to say it was a pleasure. And like I told her, he loved me first. And he did.
My papa loved us so much. Just like he was proud of us because all his homies. But I think that's something with everybody in our family. The friends got a whole relationship with everybody in the family because we were so close to Pope. I remember Pope funeral, but them folks thought I was his granddaughter. How bad I cried, but he was like an uncle to me. That was one of my papa's closest friends. Right. Grew up, they singing together all the time. And he used to help us with the singing. He the one that taught me Rocker Robin, and then now I'm about to sing Michael Jackson song. What is it? 99. Oh, and then the one, what was the end of the Robin in the Tree? He taught me that one
Robin
too.
Can say thank you.
Yeah, if a Robin can say thank you, you can do it too.
And I'm telling you what Poe used to do. Every summer, y'all, we would go to Chicago to my uncle's church to sing the gospel trio. And that's when I found a real, I guess I do have a sinus problem. I would be stopped up. I couldn't hear the keys. And Peter be fussing.
She couldn't sing the keys regardless.
Back out, get it right. So Pope would sing me to death. He said, by the time you get through singing, it's just the joy we had, and singing and going on. And people like, so when I went to the doctor, I had double infection in both ears. But I kept telling them because they like the key. I'm like, I am singing the key right. I was not, but I couldn't hear it anyway. Never sings the key but right. I was still talking about Pete, how much I loved him and he loved us, and I thank God because Keita called and FaceTime my mama, and that's good for them about grieving and helping them. And I guess I still haven't I know he's gone, but it's just haven't really registered. And that's what I was saying when the grief comes. I know it's coming, but it's just we keep going, and the word helps us. Sometime in Bible class we go over certain things, just like when we fix the food. Like mama, like he wouldn't come well, fix a plate for Pete, And even with my nephew and even with Anna B, Lord have mercy. I thank God too. She had told my mama that she was going to ask me to fix all her favorite things for her birthday. And look how God is. I fixed it.
Sabrina is mean.
Whatever.
Oh no, she's mean. But she fixed it.
But I cooked it for her. But that was her last birthday on earth. I fix everything that she likes for me to cook. So, I just thank God for that. And I am thankful for the things that I have done.
Said I am mean.
No, for my loved ones that they have asked me, to do. Because, hey, they say I'm mean. They'll go to James before they go to me. Oh, well. That's just life. But it is what it is. But I enjoy doing things for people. And you can call me mean. It's a strictness. My dad was strict on me and Marvin. And so it's just like they say, okay, my husband was strict. And so therefore we raised our children out of a strict home. And I'm sure that they going to be, you ought to hear some of the things they say. They going to be strict on their kids. But let's go back to the minister church that we went to, which James says all the time, train them a child up. So we did that, and they're doing that. An example my husband gave in church last Sunday when we had the visitor. When we was at church service, and if the kids went to sleep in church, well, bam, when we got home, baby, what they had to do? They had to go to sleep. Because, like the minister said here, what we've been saying all the time, church, you train them. It's learning. He said home, he said school, and he said church. So if you're at school, you have to learn. You have to pay attention or they will fail you. The same thing at home. It starts at home. We the first people that teach our children from the beginning. I used to read to her. I used to read to LJ. Bibles. I read Bibles with one.
And that's why LJ is the way he is now.
And I read love stories with her, I think. But either way go, I did some reading, and it starts at home.
And it also started, when we need to get back to grief. Her son is she's grieving a good son because he's a heathen. Because all she did was read him the Bible, and LJ hated church. No, I'm just playing. Nah, for real, he did not like going to church at all.
Well, when me and Marvin, my mom would tell people when me and Marvin was little kids and went to church. Only time Marvin wanted to go to church on the pastor anniversary because he wanted to eat.
But what's the common denominator between her son and her brother?
What?
She's the Antichrist. I'm just
playing. Me? Are you crazy?
Mind you, she used to read me romance novels and stuff. And I am a diehard romantic, and I love church. LJ, he couldn't stand it. He want nobody touching him, None of these.
That didn't mean he just didn't. LJ is an antisocial person. Was.
He's not.
And that, at all church, people hug. I remember my uncle had.
He's not antisocial. He didn't like people touching him. Them two things.
My uncle had said, "What's going on over there? All the people hugging on you and stuff." But that's what we did. So LJ didn't want anybody to touch him as a kid. You have some little boys mean like that. I'm gonna tell you, okay, like Marvin. Marvin was Dora, my mama's cousin / friend. Mama had bought him a Cheerio and she asked for it. Mama say no, she bit it and he threw it on the ground. You have some kids like that. They are who they are. Some kids don't want to be bothered. So don't bother them until they open up themselves. And I remember you had some sisters at the church say, LJ asked her for a hug. She was about to break her neck and get over there. Because some kids are just anti-social. That's just what it is. When they come out their cocoon, let them come out when they get ready. Go ahead.
And on that note, because we very often to streets that have nothing to do with the street we started on.
I was talking about grief about Peter and it took me all around the world. So
everything take all the way around the world. So it has been another decent episode of Man's Glory, where we keep it real biblical. And we will catch you guys next week for episode 12. Have a great week.